and picked Cobble, which we saw Mousesports struggle on against a number of teams. Okay, not result-wise against Fnatic, but definitely gameplay-wise.
And it's straight into the pistol here, not much time for theory, as we already get that quick breakaway from NiP straight into that drop zone area. And quite a lot of, after a lot of carnage, they've actually implanted a player there, and the rest of NiP are going to make their way with the bomb, or try to, towards A, but it looks like they're actually going to double back here, perhaps hearing some information from the player in drop, which is Exist, who's still just hanging out, and the Mousesports have split up now, so NiP should have a good entry to the site.
Wow, Mouse, Nico getting taken down at his almost an open B bomb site. It is now next getting taken down from the back, so Chris J through that good old choke point, the door, against 3, 2 of which have picked up a USP as well, so Chris J doesn't even have the range advantage either. And there it is, popped in the face with one of his own team's USPs. NiP off to a strong start.
A big round considering these two teams, because we always talk about how NiP needs that pistol round because they have a good anti-force buy rounds, and then they can secure themselves a strong start, which allows them a lot of room to play with further on in the half. And we also praise Mousesports for their for the fact that they have a couple of great pistol players, Nico, Nex, and Chris J, all really good in the pistol rounds, and Mousesports wins them more often than not, so this is going to make their lives tougher in the first half.
We've seen some struggles from NiP on Cobblestone on the anti-force fires. I think it was I wouldn't say against FaZe. They had some difficulty, but yes, this one's going a lot better for them.
It was most against FaZe, and because of a number of things, I feel that first NiP was a bit reckless at times. They weren't playing as well as they usually do in those rounds, but also FaZe, to an extent, figured them out. You could see, let's say, in their game on Cash the other day, how they saved the smoke late on into the round. Once they saw the Molotovs coming in, they just threw the smoke. They forced the NiP to go to the other bomb site, and it was too late for NiP at that point. The FaZe was already there waiting for them. So it is something that maybe they need to start thinking about more diversity in their anti-force buy rounds, because teams are going to start looking at it more and more, trying to find a way how to play against it effectively. Hello.
Hey, well, it's looking pretty legitimate as a start goes for NiP so far, and it's going to be just down to Mousesports now and just getting that first good buy round. So this, I mean, we shouldn't expect to see much from this. I mean, although that said, we did see, I think NiP lose on this map to 4 Glocks in the P250.
Anything can happen then in the game of Counter-Strike.
True.
Never say there's a 0% chance for something. We all learned that from Moses.
Absolutely. Which means you should always be up to date and checking the results, because you never know when you're going to miss a big result, Yanko, in the world of Counter-Strike.
Where can you do that, Dan?
Yeah, where, Dan? Where?
Well, the Score Esports app on the iOS App Store or the Google Play Store is a great resource to make sure you're always up to date with scores, stats, and news and more.
Wow, Dan,
in the esports world.
Thank you, Dan. Now I can
Dan, I've been enlightened.
Keep up on the road when I'm on the run.
On the run from what exactly, Yanko?
I don't know, Dan. I did not expect that question. On the run from my problems, probably.
Well, that's getting deep here. So back to the Counter-Strike as quickly as possible.
Wow. That was like, you know, it started off as like an ice lolly, and it ended up being dropped in the mud there by Yanko. Oh dear. I'm sure I'll find something to run from.
It's how we do, James.
It's how we do. It's how we be. Chris J's down, and now the fun will really begin for these two teams on Cobblestone. The buy will come out for Mousesports.
This is really important, because we talked about how Mousesports is really one-dimensional in their CT-sided play. So NiP obviously will have that figured out if they only watched a game or two of Mousesports on Cobble. So right now I want to see how Mousesports approaches this round. Do they adapt? Do they change things? Or they still try to fight for that B platform?
Yeah, that was actually a really big tell from their previous game, the Troubles. It's going to be quite cool to see if there is adjustment indeed on that B setup. And I'm sure NiP must have been watching that match as well. Especially, they also probably realized that Cobblestone was coming, so feel like there's been a lot of info for NiP going into this match to prepare, so it's gonna be cool to see that dynamic. And they do have quite some vicious setups going into that B-bomb site, as we've seen with the grenades. But we have Forest here in a deep position, in danger. So NiP have taken some control. They're also in drop as well. So NiP have got a lot of options position-wise on the map.
Yeah, so Mousesports like to give this up early. But we see a bit of adjustment there. Again, in the previous match, we saw them smoke themselves out of the drop area, but with much time on the clock. And this time they've chosen to not do so. So NiP with options available to them. And perhaps in recognition of NiP taking drop, we're going to have a player close to mid over towards A to try and stop any potential splits, but it will be over towards the B-bomb site. And 3 Mousesports players will be ready and waiting. A bit of a different execute in terms of nades from NiP. Bomb being spotted though, that means the rotation's coming in. Forest take down Dennis, but next is close to trade. And that's a big frag, taking down Forest, stopping the remainder of the push in that direction. Get Right can't do anything as well, so Mousesports win the first buy round with 4 players surviving.
Big round there from Nex. You could see now once Mousesports manages to get control of that B platform, first he gets a kill through the smoke, I think, on Exist, and then he changes his position and gets 3 more kills defending the B bomb site. NiP kinda, not going for a full-on execute. It was a bit sketchy the way they decided to go for that B bomb site, but still they have a pretty decent buy, only pit on the Tech 9.
Yeah, and Chris J doing his usual job there towards A long. You often see him just there trying to take those shots, and it's such a strong position for a really good AWPer to effectively get tradeless frags, basically. And here you go, he's going to get, or try to get the first one. There's the flash, not good enough for Chris J. Good position. That pop flash was not good enough for that one, and it's going to be a quick kill there for Mousesports. So, I mean, at least NiP have gotten some more forward positioning out of this, but that's Mousesports feeling comfortable with that early lead.
Yeah, so they're repositioning over towards the A site. And again, it's going to be a journey of discovery to find out where Chris J is. He can keep retesting his situation. You have to favour him in winning a 1v1 duel at the very least. Now he's put range, so it's going to be hard to trade him. Meanwhile, Nico's trying to hold down mid, playing around with the smoke, and Get Right's managed to make his way through. Nico will be taken down, trying to flank, but caught with a nade in his hand, and Get Right will just about survive. Spiddy not going to overextend there. Again, he's got Chris J on the site, and they can play the crossfire can the CTs. 35 seconds left on the clock. The entire T side is pushing now. Nex is going for a huge flank, but he's not going to get to the site on time to help his teammates. That said, doing well. Spiddy going to get traded now, and that flank may become more important as Forest gets a second kill. Get Right's gone down, so it's Forest versus 2, and he won't know where Nex is, and indeed Nex comes in from the back, so the flank will take the round for Mousesports after all.
This is better play from Mousesports. Now you can see that the communication is much better as well. Chris J doesn't just dry peek by himself or re-peeks aggressively a number of times. He waits for his teammate to flash him in, then he flashes himself in, buying much time for his teammates to rotate in next on that flank, which proved to be crucial in that round. And this is also pretty good from Chris, not afraid to go for aggressive plays, which is really important. At times on cover we've seen him afraid to take risks.
This is looking really good indeed from Mousesports. It's quite encouraging. Oh, okay, that's a nice little frag there from Get Right. How much damage can he do? Looks like not much more. And this round is much about damage for NiP in this situation, because they don't really have much chance to do anything else. No nades to get a bomb down, and you can see they're splitting up quite a lot, trying to get individual situations. Because in a one-on-one with the Eagles, you can it's always a possibility that you can find a kill. So I've got to exist in a forward position, can pick up the bomb, but again, should be pretty hard to plant that. But they're actually going towards the right bomb site here. Of course, 3 players on B for Mousesports, and just 1 for Mousesports on A. But it's Nico, so Nico is worth much more than 1 man the majority of the time. If they're able to get a quick frag onto Nico, they can legitimately plant the bomb, and there you go, Forest. He's going to pick up that headshot onto Nico. AWP is collected now by Exist. Perhaps he should give that to Forest, although Forest has picked up an M4 as well. So this is even winnable now for NiP now that they've picked up these weapons. And there's very limited grenades left on the CT side, just one smoke left after that flash has been thrown, and Exist will have players going close. He's got this AWP here. It's going to be hard to hit these shots. Going to be missing the first one. Going to try to help Forrest out. Oh no, I don't think he could really afford to miss that shot. Let's see if Forrest can keep himself alive. He's on 8 points of health. Exist needed to hit the shot by APC, and that's going to be the round saved by Mousesports. But a great effort, a bomb plant and 3 kills.
Bit of luck there for Mouse that Exist didn't hit his shots. And a mistake there from Nico too. I don't think ever in a situation like that you want to pull your nades out. He was doing a good job, you know, spotting, trying to hold different angles and, you know, pull the nade at the wrong time because he's there by himself. He has no support from his teammates. So his mission is just to give info and stay alive as long as possible, maybe get a kill so his teammates can be on the rotate pretty quickly.
So we have the old faithful coming out here for the NiP side, but where will they be headed? They do have this as an A and a B execute. Dennis is in position now. Again, this is similar to how Edwards did it for Na'Vi, waiting for that first man to come and taking him down for absolutely free. I think there was a Molotov there, maybe to help things out, but didn't work out for NiP. Speedy getting wallbanged a little. Oh, he's getting wrecked. So we're down to 4 versus 4, and the T's have half the site now, but these smokes are starting to disappear. You can see Mouse boosting onto the high ground as everything becomes quiet. Spotted now, next gets 2 frags traded, but they'll take that. Now it's down to 2 versus 2, and the question is, where are the remaining CTs? Nico will win the duel versus Forrest, and that's going to put Freiberg in a very sticky situation. He's taken 2 people down so far, trying to position himself while blind, and he's managed to do so. So that's going to give Freiberg a 1 versus 1 on the other side of things. He's going to suggest he's going one way and make his way the other. Nico on the end of the platform. Freiberg should hear, yeah, he's going to hear the nade, but going to look the other way first. So who's going to find who first? Oh, Freiberg spots him, but now Nico's hiding. Freiberg's got problems. He's got 25 seconds. He's going for the brazen plant here, baiting Chris to peek. But just can't get the connection. I don't know if he can plant the bomb now. Nico goes down, and now he can get the bomb plant. So 1 versus 1, going for the duel with Chris J. He's got time to do it, but now he has to commit. Chris J going to wait for a peek to come in, surely, but he can't really scope with the AK. AWP won't need to. The USP will be enough.
Freiberg had a lot of chances there, definitely. I think his movement was really good in how he decided to move around the site, obviously, because he gave himself all those chances, but not being able to execute the shots is going to be really disappointing for NiP for sure. Yeah,
Nico's positioning almost cost him the round in a sense that he didn't expect Freiberg at all to push through the smoke. He didn't hold that angle, and he had no idea Freiberg was there. But also the fact that Nico was on the quick flank, and actually Forrest was waiting for him. He was expecting that, but couldn't win the duel. That was the most important thing of the round, in my opinion. A lot of close rounds, a lot of clutches. So NiP is still close.
Yeah, there's aggressive pushing from Mousesports over towards A once again. And there's fast pushes from NiP over towards B, so we've lost players, but this is considerably in Mousesports' favour. Again, the flank is coming in from Mousesports, so it seems they must have done some reviewing of their previous bouts. Because we're seeing a lot of changes here, lots of aggression, lots of flanks. So we're going to have another player, Nico, again coming through T main. But can he synchronise with his teammates? Because we almost have a double peak coming in here for the Ts. Nico biding his time, allowing his teammates to get close. The trajectory will be real, but Speedy will look away. Chris J there to trade. Pit, did he spot the first player there? Oh, he's run out of bullets. He's got no bullets. Gonna get taken down on a reload. That's really unfortunate for Pitts. Damage done, but he still can't just break Mousesports just yet.
I think that NiP also, when reviewing maybe Mousesports' games, realized that B is the weak link for Mouse, but they keep dying before they actually get into the execute, right? Before they get into the bomb site. Here next gets 2 kills, and Speedy gets a kill. The kill on Gap tried to drop pretty quickly, so at that point they know the only way that NiP is coming is through B platform, and they can shift all their focus towards it.
And that's not a good way to start things. Usually it's Chris J on the AWP shenanigans there, but I guess Nico had a better spawn, so he got the AWP, and he might be ending up swapping with Chris J, who has a UMP
These
there,
are good
but-
plays because even though NiP has enough money to buy, and because of the plans and the round loss bonus, they probably won't have enough money for an op. So there's less risk in this play for NiCo than if they knew NiP had an op.
And just constant harassment here from NiP. They get themselves into a drop with get right into that connected position. He knows that there was a player nearby. He takes down NiCo. And the chances here for NiP are starting to skyrocket, with Freiburg picking up another and yet another frag towards that B bomb site, leaving just Chris J with the UMP. And he will die the death. And that's going to be the round for NiP. So they'll bounce back in the end. And having done so much damage in the previous rounds, they at least will, for their sake, force Mousesports to an eco. But Mousesports already with 5 rounds, and I think that's really good going for Mousesports.
It is. It's a bit unfortunate how they lost this round after being in a 5v4. Just Gatorade jumping out of that drop zone created complete havoc. But they should just remain calm at this point. Play maybe even a double eco and try to get maybe 2 or 3 more rounds in this half. I think they can be satisfied with that, considering the fact they lost Fistful as well.
Brute Force appears to be the channel for which NiP will sail into the B bomb sites. And everyone's set apart from Chris J. Ooh, Pit getting a bit cheeky with the plants. And that is a nice fast round. And it's a nice difference to see from NiP as well, that they can, on the anti-ecos, go for the shock and order Brute Force. So they're going to be less telegraphed with the grenades and such. Definitely needs to be a variance every now and then. Mousesports on a double eco going to be picking up the HEs again, which has become more common across a number of teams, especially on Dust 2. Curious as to how they'll use them on Cobblestone. 4 HEs this time. We're seeing 2 to 3, I'd say, on average. But they've gone for a solid 4. And is that a player in the tower I saw? Indeed it is. So people have been watching matches there. For us, perhaps taking some inspiration from Dennis.
Well, this is not, I don't think, the right round necessarily to go for the play to tilt your opponents, but...
That only works in overtime, though.
Yeah, of course. Or the last round of regulation time. But Mousesports, I mean, this is not a round that's going to tilt them. They don't have any expectations. I don't think. They got 4 nades, though, but unfortunately for them, there's no NiP players for them to grenade. NiP will be picking the correct bomb site, seemingly, as they start to move into B, and they'll spot that there's pretty much nothing going on here. Get right all the way at the end of the plateau. So, essentially, with this take of B, they're always going to know what's going on, and it's also easy for them to know that the back is clear, and that's why Freiburg is also staying here, because they understand that the flank is real, and that's going to mean that they know that they can go back to Freiburg's position to escape if they need to, because they should realize that there's no need for them to kill any, like, to hunt for frags here. They should just try to play for not dying.
What I would be really curious to see is if Mousesports put all those HEs over towards the area where the Ts are exiting for some proper carnage. Unfortunately, Freiburg will put a stop to that. But that would have been fun. I am still waiting for the day where all these HEs on eco round just come in and just kill everyone, even their own team. Just everyone goes down. Chris J going for the hero, but he will not be a hero today.
And this is much better today from Mouse. They seem much more focused, right? We remember yesterday they saved an op and had 4 USPs. And when they missed, they stacked and they missed the bomb site. And instead of just trying to guard that op player, they just rushed with their USPs and died. And now you can see that they're more disciplined, more focused. So looking better for them all around.
So that might be an untimely surprise for NiP if Mousesports are indeed going to be a lot more disciplined in this best of 3, because NiP may be prepared for a Mousesports who would make more mistakes. And indeed, Mousesports do look very focused here. And again, this is, you know, we saw it all last year. We saw it from Cloud9 at Valencia and so on, when the team starts to pay more attention, have more focus, make less mistakes, and play off of your regular behaviors as well, that they can surprise you. So this being the last qualifying match for Europe, this is a nasty time to have a surprise at NiP. See if it goes in favour of Mousesports. And again, I mean, Get Right's getting into drop pretty early.
I think that was a mistake from him. He was being overly aggressive. By the point before that duel, he already knows that the setup from the CTs, right? Because he's not being challenged. He can guess that they're on platform. Maybe they should have just executed something to counter that and not him going for a duel by himself.
And here it is, Dennis in that position. There's the flash, but no deep push positioning from NiP, so no one checks that spot. That's incredibly common spot, and that's a possibility now for them to just end the round with those 2 kills, but thank God Exist is there with that AK, able to take 2 quick frags in return. The bomb will be planted now for NiP, so they have a go of this, but with the HP as it is, it's going to be tough. There's even an HE on Chris J, although he might not realize that they're so low, so have to see if Exist can win this battle first of all. Spots Nico, quick tag there, playing that headshot angle. It's very smart from Exist, but he's going to avail himself to Chris J, and that's both frags. And again, Dennis in that position, maybe springing the attack a little bit too soon there.
It was again good play for Mousesports. They actually had 2 players there, and they saw Nex and saw that Nex fell back from the platform area. So they, NiP, I think they assumed that there was no other player on platform, and patience from Dennis right there to let the players go through, and then killed Forrest in the back, who was the offer. But we can see that the economy for NiP is still incredibly strong. They will have, even if they lose this round, they will have enough money for another buy. So Mousesports needs to keep up with this level of play.
Last rounds of the first half, rounds plural, worry not. We even have a proper boost from Mousesports, and they're going to get shot through the smoke, of course. That is terrible luck. I think the AWP is always going that way anyway, but it's just ironic that when they finally go for the safer picks, they get shot in the head straight away. So we've seen many rounds of an early advantage for NiP, so this is a problem. And I was going to say before, Get Right's getting into here for free, which is maybe unusual based on the less than ideal ways Mousesports were playing it previously. But I wonder if he knows, or if the team knows what to do with all this map control so early on. And a good place to look for those of you at home would be Flipside versus Mouse at the major. I was going to say Fifth Laren. Markelov was in there practically every round of T-side. So 50 seconds left, NiP with map control, and the numbers running down for Mousesports. The remaining players are over towards B, but now they've lost eyes towards A. They don't really know what's going on. Next going to go down now. Dennis and Spiddy remain. Dennis panicking, missing the shot here, getting sprayed through the walls. And he will eventually go down. That is a lot of gunfire right there. Not a single frag for Mousesports in that round.
Yeah, talking about keeping up that level of play, it's the complete opposite. Of course, unlucky for Chris J to get spammed through the smoke. Then the flash towards B platform was just a second too late, and Forrest was waiting on Nico on the flank, because I think 3 or 4 rounds in a row he went for that flank towards B platform. I mean, it can work both ways. It can be a mind game of sorts. I went that way 3 times. They won't expect me to go the 4th, but at some point someone's going to be waiting for you.
Just back to anti-eco. You've had pretty decent success so far with these, and that's 9-6 chances getting kind of real for them, because they're going to have one more buy round to play against before they get to that scoreline. So to me that suggests that, you know, they sort of have begun to save this T side, because Mousesports have got a lot of rounds. They've been doing super well, and that next half's gonna be super interesting for me, just because Mousesports tend to be fairly inconsistent, especially on that T side. So I have no idea what they're going to bring to the table, especially considering some of the rounds we saw yesterday. So it is the last round of the first half now, this best of 3. It's elimination match, and we've got UMPs and an AWP.
You know what I think? Oh, we'll talk about it after this round, never mind. Chris, I think he's going to go for an aggressive peak then, because they know they have a weak buy and need to buy something.
Harassment is the name of the game here for Get Right, and Spiddy is going to be swiftly forced out of his position. So I can only imagine the CT's put this smoke down.
Yeah, and they boosted on top of it, but didn't find anything.
So Mousesports opting for aggression in the drop. Again, it's I don't know that there's any good way to play that position. It's so awful for the CTs. And NiP gonna suggest that they're moving in. In fact, Get Right will move in. I think sometimes there's value in just putting a smoke down to see if there's a reaction from the CT such as this, but Dennis needs a better flashbang than that. They're going to get taken down one by one here by Get Right. Just not winning the duels against him. 5 versus 3, and he's still got control of this area. A re-smoke coming in from a teammate as well. No problems to be had here. Nico, third 1v1. Get Right is a killing machine here in the drop zone.
Yeah, just 2 players standing here for Mousesports to try to get this done. Next, though, is going to be able to get 1 frag before being eliminated. Chris J's in, well, seemingly unwinnable situation, and it will be the 9-6 in the end. So, really nice string of rounds from Mousesports in the middle of all of that chaos, and that's going to give them that the 6 rounds that they really need. And it, again, is super encouraging to see Nex really performing, and, you know, Chris J playing disciplined, as well as we saw from one of the earlier rounds, in fact, their first buy-round win. So I think we're set up here for a really strong best of 3.
This is so funny. Their scores look ridiculous, and I felt they played so well. But I think what saved the half here for NiP was actually that eco round, where they managed to get into the A bomb side. They killed Nico while he was pulling out nades, and they managed to get the bomb down and killed, I think, one more Mouse player after that. And that really hindered Mousesports' economy, right? Even after that, of course, they still had enough money for guns, but once they actually lost the round, they had to double eco, and that gave NiP a window to come back into the half, which they managed to do.
I think there's probably a pop flash for the drop zone now. The teammate can throw from near the crack in the wall, if it's safe, if there's a smoke above the crack in the wall or something like that. Otherwise, obviously, that might be suicide. Anyway, Mousesports, they've got a good record on the pistol rounds this week. They will look for it to continue here. 3 players and a decoy over towards the A site for the CTs. And Mousesports are headed in that direction. It seems Chris J's up front looking for the close engagement, but Forrest is playing the range. So Mousesports going to move away from A.
Yeah, and NiP haven't heard too much about what's going on. Just a few initial steps, but nothing to confirm what's happening. And you can see they're playing retake on B largely. They've only have 1 player who's committed there on the very deep part of plateau. And it's very smart, I mean, because Exist has some cover to work with. He's got much better consistency with that weapon on the range that he's playing with. And he can see into drops, so 1 player spotted. Now he knows what's going on. He'll make the call to his teammates, but he doesn't get a single connection. He's trying desperately to get a headshot, but Exist doesn't get anything just yet. It's Freiberg to pull a result out of the bag here for NiP, but more needs to follow if they want to do this. And Freiberg's delivering 2 kills there. Forrest coming in as well. And that's going to be the round for NiP. They're going to win 2. Is this real life?
Headshots.
Did they just win 2 pistol rounds in a... I don't know if that has been witnessed in the last... I don't know how many best of 3s of NiP.
Headshots. All about the headshots. I think there's... If you're going to go B, I wonder if there's value in some P250s on that site specifically. Anyway, can ponder on that later. Mousesports going for the force buy. Safe for Spiddy and Chris J. So I'm curious as to maybe Spiddy's just a nade man on the buy round in general. He has got some nades himself though. Pop flash coming in. But they need to get close to the site, need to get close to these players. Get Right's gone down. Pit and Exist coming in to put in work. Pit playing around the statue. And he's baiting for his teammates as well. 2 players down for NiP. They'll take that. 11-6, no problem for NiP. No plant for Mousesports so far, which means we have another eco coming out. Yeah, I think this is one map on a pistol round. I mean, I'm just kind of guessing at the moment in terms of distances, but I think the T's, at least towards B, can get close enough so they can take duels, even if NiP are trying to play far with P250s and get a plant. Which won't make sense until I elaborate on it another time.
Well, here go the Glocks. 4 Glocks and a PT50. NiP lost to that recently on Cobblestone on the CT side. I don't know if that's going to happen this time though, as it's they will be going to B instead of A. Well, are they trying to get out the window? Surely not. But ooh. Getray does get tagged down to 3 HP though, so maybe the window could be somewhat open now. Just the Freiberg's replaced him, so a healthy player is there now with a FAMAS. So it's going to be hard here for Mousesports, generally speaking. They are locked in there. You see Freiberg kind of wants to smoke it off. But he is very, very cautious just because he knows that the players here want to peek him. There's 2 frags. Will he finally go for the smoke off? And looks like this time now he won't. There's so many players dead. It's not even really worth it now.
I feel like GetRight
or maybe it was.
I feel like GetRight should give his FAMAS to exist, just so there's a better chance of saving it for the next round. And now there are problems here for NiP, because GetRight's the only person between Spiddy and the A bomb site, although he's chosen to leave the window with the bomb on the floor.
The funny thing is that it's hard to find an off angle for that window position because of the big pillar.
Why has he left the bomb?
Otherwise, it's just way better to...
Maybe he thinks he picked it up. We'll not let you finish your sentence, Dan, by the way.
I'm just saying, it's funny that NiP is facing the window, facing a headshot angle against P250s instead of trying to hold an off angle, because the players can't go anywhere unless they boost out, but they still can't do anything. So the NiP actually playing kind of risky with their positions there instead of just containing the T's, and they'll end up losing 2 players, and Spiddy's going to save a rifle out of it. So
it's worth it for him. He saved more money in that gun than he would have gained by just dying and getting the loss bonus. So Christian goes for a glass cannon AWP. We saw that Mousesports' T side was pretty strong yesterday against Fnatic. They really outplayed them early on, but that time around they had the pistol round win as well. So have to see how they fare against NiP without it.
Mousesports starting mainly over towards the B bomb site, A bomb site. Obviously, part of the default is people stand outside there, waiting for any pushes from the CTs. And we saw how aggressive Mousesports were in the previous half and how many rounds it got them. So, Forest doesn't have any support here. And I'm assuming, I think it's Exist was watching Danger, or the entrance into Danger from lower, and now is moving closer to Danger, so now Forest has support. Just got Mousesports holding angles here. Chris J, I think, is going to flash over the top. Forrest misses the timing shots, and we'll see who's going to be willing to take the angle after it's Freiberg in position. So Forrest can try and bait for him. He's got no nades though, the Forrest, to try and flash. So GetRight going to get traded in the connector area. Now the split is on for these CTs. Freiberg needs to come in big here. 1 frag for him. We've got Nico creeping as well. Going for the shoulder picking with a massive wide peak there. And Forrest misses a shot. 2 versus 3. And NiP have a bit of time to try and get themselves through these choke points. At least one of them. Oh, the continuation spray almost gets a frag there. Pit and Exist. Nico coming close. But Pit manages to escape just in time.
yeah, this is looking very sketchy here for NiP. Ninja's trying to get themselves back into the bomb site now. And Dennis is tagged down quite low indeed after that continuation spray. But there is Pit. He's gone. Just down to Exist with that FAMAS. He's got full HP against these AKs, but there goes the smoke to make his life a little bit harder. And I think he might just get peeked there in the side, yeah. It looks like Nico's just going to go for it, and that's the frag. And to me, that was all Forrest missing multiple shots that you'd never normally expect him to ever miss. So Forrest not having the best couple best of threes. I think, actually last few best of threes in the playoffs, I think he's been struggling.
Yeah, but it's also tricky. Holding that angle, holding an angle like that when a player shoulder picks you, then you're not sure if he's gonna wide peek you or what. Of course, he has the advantage there, but you know, it was Nico on the other hand, and he gets a 4K. But nevertheless, it was a good round by Mouse. You could see the plan, right? Get control of long, try and get into drop, and then split the A bomb site. So a good execute from them.
So what do Mousesports have in plan here? Nico throwing a flash over. Maybe just to push the CTs off the usual spots while Chris J can go for the pick. Chris J pick play, is it going to work on this occasion? Waiting for somebody to go for the information close. And the Mousesports side slowly creeping over there. So we're not seeing the aggression from NiP that we saw from Mousesports. There's no flank coming in just yet. Got two players playing slope, so the over towards A, so the rotation will be a bit slower than you might expect. So we go, Mousesports rushing the site now. No wall of smokes as you saw in previous rounds. It is an eco here for NiP. So one will expect these two to go down.
Here you can see something that was uncharacteristic for NiP, that Dan mentioned them peeking or holding an aggressive angle towards drop zone, which is only a headshot angle, towards the window here where Forest is. So, and they lose two players there, which in turn harmed their economy, and after losing only one gun round, they were forced to eco, and this gives breathing room to Mouse. As you can see now, even if they lose this round, they will have enough money to buy.
And I wonder as well, like, if how much confidence is going to be playing for Forest with the AWP as well, because that round where he missed three shots, which at least he's supposed to hit at least like one or two of those, that can't really consistently happen against a team as highly skilled as Mousesports. So we're going to see him go to the rifle and play a rifle setup with, I believe, Freiberg this time around instead of the AWP. But I'm curious as to see, you know, what's going to happen when Forest brings out the AWP again. Mousesports are actually, you know, working on some control here of this A-long area. So this is really good to see. Yesterday on Cobblestone on T side, we saw a lot of rounds from Mousesports that did lack some structure, or they just, you know, waited too long to really do anything. But, you know, here they're very active. They're across both sides of the map trying to pick up, you know, either just get grenades off of the TTs without losing their lives, or just pressuring into positions and forcing NiP back. So Mousesports doing a lot of things well, absolutely here. And they have a lot of rounds to recover on their T side, but it's looking like they can do it with the play that they're showing so far. But this is a pretty important round. We've got Pit on that AWP this time. And in goes Mousesports further now onto A-long with the bomb.
There are three Ts over towards A though, so perhaps NiP have a read on the situation. We have Nico looking to harass towards the drop, and there's somebody waiting for him as well. So 40 seconds or less. This is Mousesports' prime time to make plays. I think they're waiting for the Nico rotation. We've got two on the slope for NiP. Freiberg trying to avoid the flashbang, but no flash is just going to have the raw peaks. The trades will go in favour of the CTs. Get right close to the mag 7, not going to work out for him, down to a 3 versus 3. There's a flank coming in here from Forest. And the CTs over towards A are on the wrong side of the checkpoints. Chris J taking massive damage from Exist there. That is absurd for the smoke. Next with 8 seconds, unable to do it. Forest takes him down from the back, as well as Dennis.
Just a great read from NiP gambling towards that A bomb site with 3 players. And that's, you know, there's not much you can do on CT side Cobble, but that's one of the things you can go for. You can stack a bomb site, 3 players towards A or maybe 4 players towards B, depending on what your read is. And it was a good read this time around and stops Mouse in their tracks. But as we talked about it, they have enough money to buy. So NiP needs to win consecutive rounds here. It's not just about winning one round.
Yeah, and it's like NiP are really battling back quite well as well, not looking phased by any of the good rounds Mousesports have had. And it's good to see that Chris J is back on the AWP here in this round as NiP start to draw closer to that 16. Only 3 away now. Spinny looking to go into drop here, and there it is. Mousesports going for the split onto B, or actually just the drop take, actually, my mistake. Just the drop take. They're going to get it for a trade of a 1-for-1, which is absolutely worth it, especially considering that they've got Nico now embedded into that position can serve to try to split the defense on a push into B, or he can serve just to luck if his team goes towards A. But they don't have any A control just yet. But if we look at the response from NiP, they actually have lost grip of the A side of the map because they decided that with losing one player, they want to play more passively. And this one-on-one is so important. ECS takes down Nico. Reclaims drop for NiP, and that's a big play because that is where Mousesports are going, to that B-bomb site.
There's a long rotation for two of these A players though, and the push is coming in from Mouse. ECS will be crucial. His teammate can run distraction here, waiting for the peak to come in. How many can he spray down? 2, almost gets a 3rd, needs to reload though. So it's ChrisJ versus 4. How much damage does ChrisJ do? Can he hold on to his AWP? Nice snap onto ECS there. Almost getting the angle onto Pit, but Pit will be quicker on the trigger finger. 14-8 in favor of NiP. 6-round lead now, and I think we have a tactical pause coming in from Mouse.
I think Mouse needs to be more decisive in these rounds. They get control of drop, but their players are still too spread around, and by the time they make a decision where they want to go, NiP is already positioned pretty well to defend from that.
Right, ECS shouldn't have the chance to get that untraded 1 versus 1 against Nico sort of thing. Yeah, that does make a lot of sense, and that brings NiP to 14-8. I mean, it's a big performance from ECS to not just win the 1 versus 1, but then actually get essentially almost 3 kills and just shut it down himself. But yeah, there's no money here for Mousesports, and so I guess they're thinking: do we force buy twice, or do we save once and get one buy-in, which still sucks a little bit. I mean, well, with one save here, I mean, they will get $2,400 next round.
I think at this point they should force, because look at the money on NiP. It isn't that strong, and if they manage to win this round, they're probably going to force them to eco, and then again they have some breathing room, right? If you just eco and then you're supposed to win 7 rounds in a row on T side, that's hard to do against any team without an advantage in place, right?
Yeah, definitely with you on that one. Yeah, both teams, I mean, generally speaking, both teams looking pretty good so far in this first map, I've got to say. Mousesports look definitely a bit rejuvenated. I think that match against Fnatic probably, whilst it must have been kind of gutting for them to lose it, I think it did give them a little bit of confidence as well, because Fnatic have been playing pretty well. And Mousesports are a funny team. I feel like, you know, in one tournament they might just show up and be able to do like a really crazy placement above, like far above where they're currently ranked. As the potential is there. But here we are into the round. They've gone for that force buy, and let's see what they can do with it.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that sentiment, and I look forward to seeing that happen one day. Mousesports opting for the force here, realizing they can't really play for overtime and take 7 rounds in a row versus a currently well-equipped NiP. So we've got 2 men moving into the drop zone. Get right holding it down with ease, though. So this looks to be wiped out. The CTs will need to close the distance on the site, though. Never mind, everyone's dead. Game points for NiP. And Mousesports are not left with much of anything. 2.5k per player. It is enough for full armor on an over. Perhaps a flashbang. I highly recommend it. Four Tech 9s and a P250 onto Spiddy. There's masses of utility from Mousesports, and they appear to be setting up NiP-esque grenades. That is a Freiberg nade. Freiberg holds that nade, I don't know for sure. That next is lining up, so we're going to see an NiP execute, but the bomb isn't towards B, which could suggest a fake towards A.
Or maybe not. Or maybe not after all. Looks like they're going to join up, but a little bit late, and so far, NiP are not letting them onto the bomb site. They're still stuck on the B plateau, trying desperately to get out, but now it's just Nex who's left alive with Kevlar helmet and a Tech 9, and he'll swiftly lose all of that, and that'll be the map there. NiP going 16-8, but we cannot overlook the fact that they did actually win 2 pistol rounds in this matchup. And Mousesports' first half, considering that the first pistol round was won, it was actually an amazing first half from Mousesports.
I agree. I felt they played much better than the show scores. I even think they played better than they have yesterday against Fnatic, and that game went into overtime. So maybe a bit unfortunate to them, but you have to give props to NiP, right? Finally stepping up in the pistol rounds when it actually matters the most for them in the last match in the ECS.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, we can focus on NiP obviously because they won the map, but it's in a short space of time, one day. It's basically it's a really good turnaround from Mousesports. So despite them losing that map, which you have to expect them to at the moment, I hope that the review and the discipline continues over a longer period of time because, as we said yesterday, there are lots of small things that they can improve and fix, small mistakes and so on. So if they can continue to do that, then I'm excited for that. So that was a dramatic change, and I do feel like they probably just reviewed
really
the recent
funny
matches.
Because if the viewers are just checking the score on the Score Esports, James, then they're going to see that 16-8, and it's funny to see that we're giving them so much praise. But it does bode well for the rest of the series. But I hope that there is a rest of the series. I hope that they're able to have a good result. I want to see 3 maps out of these 2 teams, really, to be honest, especially considering how much better Mousesports are playing. And also NiP, I mean, I was critical of Forrest, missing those 3 shots with the AWP. But when he had a rifle in his hands, he was performing, great. And the rest of his team as well. Everyone was doing their job. Everyone's performing quite well. Freiburg was having important frags. Exist was having some of those important clutches we've seen.
I think at one point we've seen the scoreboard and NiP had 3 players on 15 kills, 1 on 16, and the last on 14.
Yeah, exactly.
So it can't get any closer than that. And it's going to be like that most of the times when NiP is winning. It's going to be spread around across the board. So pretty solid play for them. Again, they were shaky recently, so also a good turnaround from them when it's the most important game. And I agree with you, Dan. I feel that Mousesports should focus on the next map as much as they can. They didn't make any silly mistakes. So as long as they don't do that, they can be a pretty dangerous team to play against.
All right, well, it is time, guys, for a quick break. We'll be back here for the final best of 3 here in the playoffs to decide the final team going through to the Wembley finals for Europe. Will it be NiP or Mousesports? Well, NiP have won map 1. Let's see if they're able to take it on Dust 2 or if it will go to a third. See you after the break.